Hey everyone, what's up? Alex here with Off the Cuff Reviews. I am back again to bring you guys a special new video. This time we're going to be talking about one of my favorite horror movies of all time called The Ring. So let's get into it. The Ring is a 2002 horror film directed by Gore Verbinski. So this film stars Naomi Watts, and it tells the story of a videotape that when you watch it, you will die 7 days later. That story, that plot kind of sounds far-fetched until you really dissect the movie and get into it and get into the real story. It is really about grief. It is really about a grief-stricken family who is trying to figure out what happened to somebody in their family. So it really gets into a lot of emotional, raw vulnerability from a lot of the characters and a lot of the development of the storyline. It involves the grief that the main characters are going through, and it's not necessarily just all jump scares, and it's not going to be a movie that's designed to scare you in a way where there's just like a lot of loud noises and a lot of things like that. It's more about creepy imagery and really unsettling feelings that you get watching the movie. You will be unsettled. Every single time I rewatch this every year, I feel like I'm on the edge of my seat, like something just is digging into my sides, like pulling me closer to the TV. Because even though it is so riveting and so packed full of all of this creepiness and unsettlingness, it makes you like you can't even turn away. You can't even turn away. It'll make you not want to turn away, but at the same time you want to turn away because you're scared, because you're creeped out, because that's what the movie does to you. It draws at your heartstrings, and at the same time it pulls you into the movie with the performances and the plot, but it really unsettles you at the core, and that is part due to Gore Verbinski. And I'm a big proponent of not remaking foreign movies, especially foreign horror movies, because a lot of the foreign horror movies are way better than the American ones. But what they did with this was so good because they didn't Americanize it. I feel like through the way that Verbinski crafted this film, it was so brilliant because he takes that raw and like that real creepy atmosphere, and he does such a good job at building that atmosphere in the movie. Like even just like small shots that probably aren't really scary or really creepy, he still somehow makes them creepy. It's really dreary. It's raining a lot in the movie. It's raining a lot. It's dark. There's a lot of darkness, and the darkness just follows the characters around. This movie like spawned a lot of other horror movies. It is really a movie that is going to make an impact on lasting generations of horror films. This is one that like a lot of films try to emulate but cannot get to that same amount of creepiness. Nobody's able to make that happen. And that's what it feels like to me. Like it feels like nobody's able to make that happen again. Like this is its own special place. It has its own special place in the film industry that no other film can even touch. And not only that, but it has spawned it's even spawned like bands. Like there's this band called Aiden that is based on the main kid in the movie. His name is Aiden, and they formed the band because they watched this movie and they were like, oh, like let's make this horror punk band. And that's kind of how it spawned because of this movie. And that's where they get the name, and that's where they get kind of like their initial push into like making music like that, like for real, because of this movie. And like I think that's just so cool that a movie that is just kind of like it's just a PG-13 horror movie that a lot of people overlook, honestly. I feel like a lot of people overlook this, especially like in the mainstream, and it seems like it's really underappreciated. And once you really get into the nitty gritty of it, you can really start appreciating what they did with this film, what Verbinski did, what Naomi Watts did. She really brought this character to life. And I don't know, I really like this movie, and I think it's extremely well done, and it's one of the scariest horror films that I've ever seen. And with all of that said, I'm going to give The Ring an A+, because of the creepiness, the unsettlingness, how raw and real and how riveting it is. Every single time I rewatch it, it just draws me in, and I can't look away, even though I want to, because I'm still creeped out by The Ring. I hope that this movie still makes an impact on lasting generations of horror fans everywhere, and I'm sure it definitely will. If you guys like this content, definitely check the link in the description. I just launched a Patreon where you guys are going to be getting tons of reviews just like this. You guys will definitely be getting podcast episodes and just tons of different things that are only available to Patreon members. So definitely check that out. And if you guys don't want to spend that measly $5, that's totally fine. Just hit the subscribe button right here on YouTube and give me a thumbs up, and that definitely helps me out. And I will see you guys on the flip side. Stay safe, everyone.